Hi there, everyone. My name is Scott Nicholson, and I'm a professor at Laurier's Game Design and Development program, and I'm going to talk with you briefly today about the concept of meaningful gamification. Now, you may have heard this term, gamification, but what is it? Well, if you've ever made a game out of throwing away garbage, you've done gamification. The idea is that normally you throw something in the trash, but now you think about what you're doing. You add this point system, like, if I can make it, it's going to be 2 points. And you'll hear the roaring crowd. That's adding gamification to the context of throwing away garbage. It doesn't change the effect that you're still throwing away trash, but you've added a game layer to motivate you to engage with it. I've made a definition for gamification, and it's the application of gameful or playful layers, so you're adding a layer, to motivate engagement to get people involved with a specific context. So the idea is there's something in the real world that you're wanting to motivate people to get engaged with, and then boop, you add a layer of engagement, and that gets people wanting to engage with it a little bit more. Now, it's different from game-based learning. Game-based learning is where the games and the learning are melded in together. You can't separate them. It's not this layer on top of the game. So Civilization's a good example. When you play the Civilization games, there's a lot of learning that's going on about different civilizations and economic structures and political structures and history, but it's integrated into the game. You can't separate it. With gamification, it's a layer on top of the real world. I talk about gamification as our class structure. So in classes, you're learning things, you're reading things, you're doing things, but we've added this point system on top of all of it to try to entice you, to motivate you to engage with the class. So that's a way to think about gamification. Here are some of the basic concepts in a reward-based gamification system. So it all starts with points. You earn points for doing something. So you might think, like, if you're on the PlayStation Network, you earn trophies for doing things. They've actually gamified games. So you earn points, and as you earn those points, you can go up in levels. So you can go from gold to platinum. You can be better by going into new levels, or you can be ranked on a leaderboard to engage you. There might be achievements, which are additional things that you're engaging with, and there might be some kind of public display or badges. So these concepts can be used to add gamification to really anything that's out there. In fact, you've probably seen some of these things. You may have the phone apps or the card versions of these gamified layers on top of real world activities. In this case, shopping has been gamified with these layers. Well, when I started studying gamification, I found this book, Gamification by Design, which said once you start giving someone a reward, you have to keep her in that reward loop forever. And that gave me pause because I work a lot with libraries and museums who wanted to use gamification to get people to engage with their facilities. And I thought, well, that's a problem if you have to continue to offer a reward to get people to come back. Good. I started doing more reading, and I discovered Punished by Rewards by Alfie Kohn and Daniel Pink's Drive, both of which focused on this. Now, the problem with this is that rewards replace your pre-existing interest in something. So let's say you like to read and you're intrinsically motivated to read. And then I start giving you a reward to get you to read, and you focus on that reward more than the reading. Well, when the reward is no longer available or you're no longer interested in that reward, it has actually replaced your motivation to read. So at the end of this system, you are less motivated to do the thing I wanted to get you to do. And that's the danger with using these gamification systems, is they can erode someone. So I thought, well, there's got to be another way, and this is my other way. So if you take a game, and the concept of games is a game is a play and structure and goals. Those things together make up a game. Now, I have a math degree, so I have the ability to subtract play from both sides of that equation. So that means structure and goals is games without play. So if you think about that, if you take a game, but you take away the playful stuff, what you have left are the rules and the goals, but no play. Well, that's what these reward systems are. They're games without play, which sounds pretty dreadful to me. And I thought, well, what if instead of that, we focus on the play side of the equation? What if we figure out how to make the tasks playful and meaningful, not focusing on the rewards and these goals, but rather focusing on your intrinsic motivation and building your interest? And that's the goal of meaningful gamification, is you want to build on someone's internalized motivation. This is something I've spent some years writing up and exploring. The idea is to use concepts like you see in science museums, where you get kids to learn about science by playing, by exploring. You use concepts like what they've done with Epcot Center, where people get interested in the world around them and in science by engaging in playful and creative activities. And That's what we're trying to do here. This is a good example of what we do at Laurier. Is our goal for our program is to make play meaningful. Our goal is to take the concepts of play, to consider the values that go into that play, and how do we make that meaningful for people. So if you're interested in looking at play and creating meaningful play, then take a look at what we do here at Laurier. Thank you much. I'm Scott Nicholson, and I will talk to many of you later. Bye-bye.